Hey, ladies, can you hear me?
Goodness. Yes.
The laptop, the
I hear
laptop
you,
is the
sis.
answer. The laptop is the answer.
Okay, so now all we need is Deborah Denise and we are set. Oh my gosh.
So is
The
she?
resilience of Black women. That's all I can tell
I'll
you.
tell you yes, 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 yes. I'm glad you through that last bit of information. I thought, well, what the hey? Let me just try the laptop.
Okay, I'm going to send Deb a message and tell her that you are now in on your laptop.
See, and the only sign of my distress is the fact that my entire name is in capital letters because I was about to lose it.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh. It's 9 o'clock. Okay, computer, chill out.
Okay, so I just sent a
Right.
text to Deb and
Right.
let's see. So see, it's always an adventure with us, okay?
Yes, and I just had to I was saying to myself as my name was being called downstairs, and it's just all this is happening all at once. I'm saying, well, this must be an experience in patience and some other things. Oh my
Look,
God.
everything these days is a lesson for us to learn. And like I said, me attempting to have a remote podcast with two other people for a total of three people in three different states, I'm like, go ahead, okay?
I completely agree. COVID-19 is providing an opportunity for lots of good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So
Stretching
we
that
just have to
muscle.
be persistent and let's see where Deborah Denise Humphrey-Hunter is. But I'm so glad. So now we know, for whatever reason, your phone did not want to cooperate, but the laptop was the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. See, this is a learning. And Deb is here. Are
Woo!
we all here, ladies?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Oh
we
my gosh. This is like congratulations to us.
Yes,
What can I
yes,
say?
yes.
So, for the people who may or may not get to listen to this, if indeed this becomes a podcast episode, the backstory on this is that I, the host, the voice behind Ancestral Muses, I'm in Florida. My sister girl Deb is in South Carolina.
Hello.
My other sister girl Karen is in North
How
Carolina.
y'all doing?
Oh my gosh, we are bad. Don't tell me Black women ain't got it going
I
on,
tell
okay?
you.
Wow, that's all
Oh,
I can say, lady. So, Karen,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you had an opportunity yet. And if you have not, you must watch the YouTube link that I sent you, which was the conversation between Nikki Giovanni and Angela Davis, which took place last night.
Indeed, I actually used the time frame that we were using this time frame that had passed and trying to get our connections together to take a sneak look. And I am besides myself with interest. I have already sent the link to Zoe. It is absolutely the thrill of seeing those women was beyond anything I could express. And to see the intergenerational connection, oh my goodness.
Wow.
It speaks volumes. It just speaks absolute volumes.
Absolutely. So I forgot to say first off, thank you and welcome, ladies, to Ancestral Muses. I do that every time. So I always have to share with people how it is I'm connected to the people that I speak to. So for those of you that are listening, I'm connected to Deborah because Deborah and I go way back to like what, sis? Junior high school? Deborah, are you there, Deborah?
I am here. Can
I
you hear me
sent,
now?
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
I
Oh, I
sent
can
the
I can hear you. I can hear you. You like I was telling you, whenever this thing goes dark, you lose me.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sis. Technology
Uh-huh.
it has its issues, but I was just
Yes.
sharing
Seventh
how I
grade.
know you.
Seventh
Seventh
grade.
grade.
hmm We
And
were
so,
introduced by a mutual friend, um, who we don't even talk to anymore.
how about that? Is that bizarre or
Her
what?
name was Tanya.
You're right. See, people come in your life for a reason or a season.
True that.
And then Karen, how we're connected to Karen is because we all went to Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yes, yes, indeed. And I think,
And
mhm. Go ahead, Pam.
for some people, they may not be able to wrap their head around the fact that I graduated in 1979. And when did you graduate, Karen?
I graduated in 81.
And I
Oh,
graduated in 81, was a class of 79. So I was returned to my rightful class upon
exactly.
graduation.
Exactly. But the bottom line is that we have many, many, many years of
Yes.
history and sisterhood and
Yes.
community. That's
And
the whole
Karen and
point.
I started out, we were roommates as well. So, and Pam and I were housemates. She lived on one end of the floor and I lived on the other end of the floor. So
Exactly.
so the three of us have had somehow living together. We've lived together in the same space.
Exactly. And so just the backstory relative to the conversation that took place yesterday with Angela Davis and Nikki Giovanni. Um, Girl Trek, which is a nonprofit organization, sponsored that talk. And you can either find them on Facebook, you can find them on Instagram, and it would appear that weekly they are going to host conversations between women of color, it appears, that are either icons in their own right or the children of icons, because I think next week's conversation is going to be with Dr. Bernice King, and I forget which one of Malcolm X's daughters, but that should be also an eye opening, revolutionary exchange of ideas and words. So, Girl Trek started a hashtag, and the hashtag was daughter of. And what they were doing with that hashtag is they wanted to honor the memory of women. And I think it's fitting that tomorrow, at least in the United States, is Mother Days. I've since learned from a friend of mine that Mother's Day in France is a completely different date, but tomorrow is Mother's Day. And so we do happen to have mothers on the line. And I want to say happy Mother's Day to you both, Karen
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
Deb. All righty.
Thank you.
And
And also, happy Mother's Day to you, because motherhood is not always biological.
absolutely, aunties, they qualify. I'm my auntie. It's all good. But the point was that all these women throughout the entire 2 hours last night, at the behest or request of the two founders of Girl Trek, were honoring their matriarchs, the matrilineals in their family, by in the comments using the hashtag daughter of, calling out the names of those people. So I did this earlier and I shared it with you all, and you all don't have to do it, but I am going to do it. So I said, my daughter of is, I am the daughter of Clara, the granddaughter of Ruthie Lee and Nettie Mae, the great granddaughter of Livonia and Weedy, the great great granddaughter of Mary and Jane. And so, what is interesting about that is that for me, on my father's side of the family, my mother's side of the family, they were all born in and around the town of Cuthbert, Georgia, which is also where I was born. So I really do feel a connection when I do travel to Cuthbert, Georgia. Um, red clay, there's plenty of red clay in Cuthbert, Georgia. And when I went to Ghana, the University of Ghana Law School, to my great surprise, or I always say there are no coincidences, only synchronicities. There's a heap of what? Red clay in Ghana. So I felt like I had truly come home.
Wow, that's significant, Pam. That's an
Yes,
interesting experience. Yes.
exactly. So do either of you want to, if you choose to, fine. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Want to give a shout out to any of the matriarchs in your family?
Of course.
All right, who wants to go first?
Deborah, let me invite you to do that.
All right. I am Deborah, daughter of Flossie, granddaughter of Eula, granddaughter of Cora. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, Kate Burke, it's
All
all you.
right. And I am Karen, daughter of Valerie, granddaughter of Arubi Esme, granddaughter of Enid.
Okay. So I have to confess that I had as much information as I had because we were planning on my father's side a family reunion in Florida in June, but because of the virus, we've had to cancel it, and it won't be happening until June of next year. So I had a head start in terms of doing research relative to having all that information. So I don't want y'all to think that I just had it off the top of my head. It was not like that. It was I had it because it was in preparation of the family reunion, which is not going to take place this year, but I'll certainly be ready for next year. So I also just wanted to share that it took an hour and 11 minutes for Karen, Deb, and I to finally get it together so that we could all be in the same space to have a discussion about uh, Black women, community of women, and honoring mothers. So, Karen, not that we're trying to steal any thunder from when you do get a chance to watch the Nikki Giovanni and Angela Davis replay, but it was truly a once in a lifetime experience. I don't know if you remember or not that Angela Davis came to Trinity College. Were you there when she came to Trinity College?
I believe I was, now that I think about it, in that freshman year in 81.
I don't remember the year
Mm-mm.
that she
Couldn't have
came.
been couldn't have been 81 because Pam was was still there.
Right.
So it
It
had to
was
have been
Oh,
sometime.
79.
79.
I'm so sorry. I don't know.
It could have, I
Hmm.
don't remember exactly, but it was between 75 and 79, which those were the 4 years that I was there.
77. It would have been the 77, 78 year. I think it was that freshman year, 77 to 78.
Okay. But I mean, what an incredible experience. And then in Florida in January in Eatonville, the oldest historically Black, town that's incorporated since I forget the date, but, and I don't remember what year, but Nikki Giovanni
Hmm.
came, and she was laying down truth like she does last night, that you are in for such a treat. It's not even funny, some of the stuff that she's going to share. But I think one of the things that struck me, because there was also a part where people were able to ask questions. And I remember it was a young sister who was asking a question about any words of advice that she could give her, being a young
Sorry,
black
lost
woman
y'all
and
for a
stuff of
minute.
that sort. No problem. And so I'm trying to find, because I'm always a perpetual student, so I'm always taking notes. But this is what Angela Davis said. She said, just because we're older, we don't have all the answers. We can share experiences.
Amen.
And I thought that was very profound, because in our journey together as sister girlfriends, that's what we have done. We have shared our experiences, and we've learned from those experiences. And young women today, I think they need to have, a group of sister girls that, they can communicate with, they can share, that'll be there to uplift them. Because truly, truly, we know, or I can speak to the women in my family, that they are survivors, that they are strong. And I'm sure you can all say the same thing about women in your family.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
In fact, I want to say that sometimes what happens is we get the, I don't want to say bad rep, but that is what it is, of being accused of being, the B word, et cetera, et cetera, because you're standing in your strength, in your power, not necessarily because, you like to necessarily be large and in charge, but sometimes you have no choice. You got to step up and do what you need to do. If no one else is around to take care of business, then you got to step up and do what needs to be
Mm-hmm.
done.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not going to monopolize the conversation, because y'all all know that I can talk, talk, talk. So I wants to hear from my sister girls. What would you like to share with me, with anyone who might be listening, if indeed this does become a podcast episode about the strength, the beauty, resilience of Black women, or anything you want to share about your journey as a Black woman.
Hmm. Deborah, are you interested in taking a shot at that? Now, Deborah might be bopping in and out in terms of connectivity, so I'll jump into that space and say, I
Okay.
suspect,
Okay.
uh-huh,
Am I there again? I'm back.
yes.
You are here. You are showing as being connected. Yes.
I keep
It's all good. Look,
I keep
ladies,
my
you
best.
and I know. Look, in this new whatever we want to call it, new way of being, I think once again we are showing the world that as Black women, we persist, we
Mm-hmm.
insist, because like I said, it took an hour and 11 minutes for us to figure out how to get you two in different states
Mm-hmm.
and me in the state I
Mm-hmm.
am, so that we could even begin to have this conversation. So you floating in and out of connectivity is the least of
I
my
know that's
problems.
right.
You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm
Well, one
saying,
thing I
sis?
did want to say is that I feel that this is momentous. I feel that we have been sister friends and doing girl trips for over 25 years. And
Yes.
I feel that that has been a major part of our friendship and our sisterhood, where the rules were very plain in the beginning, and that was if a sister girl needed us, we had to come, and all she had to do was ask.
Yes.
And I remember, coming or going or being, and it was always that way. If we needed you and we asked, we would come. And I think that's been so special. And again, because it's been going on over 25 years, um, it's just been a wonderful, wonderful relationship to be in, so contrary to everything or lots of things that you see in the media, on television, where Black women are tearing each other up and cussing each other out. Just letting people know that is not the only part of sisterhood, okay? And not even
In
a
fact,
reality.
exactly, because it is indeed possible for Black women to uplift, support each other, and not be envious, jealous, etc., all that kind of good stuff. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
So you all have been a blessing in my life. If I've not told you that, I want you to know that indeed you all have been a blessing in my life. And what we try to do when we do have our um, trips, or when we have our girls' weekend, we're there for whoever needs our immediate support. But we also, try to have a good time. We come bearing trinkets or gifts, food, drink, because, it's a celebration of who we are as women, and it's a celebration of our friendship and love for each
Yes,
other.
there's no question. And it's certainly, and then there's that amazing gift that we've been able to give each other of that kind of support, because we've all, um, we all encounter the need to stretch our wings, to grow. Life, I guess, for a lot of people is very linear, but I don't think that's the average story. I think there are a lot of twists and turns, a lot of hard lefts and hard rights that can pop up and kind of throw you a little bit off kilter. I think we've successfully maintained a non-judgment zone that's really, really been very special. It's just been a true affair of love, and no judging, and that permits a lot of growth. Um, I don't think we've ever really struggled with interfering with each other's journeys. I think we've been kind and gracious to each other in that way, allowing us the space to grow. And with that, I have to say that I think it's so exciting to be entering into a phase now where, we've seen quite a few decades pass. Um, and for, I think, all of us, we're getting a lot more rooted in this idea of our strength and the idea of giving back, of valuing our experiences and the need to share that, and to just be present, to support our generation, our current, to support each other, to support women in our own demographic, but also to turn around and to be a part of the giving back process, which is a part of what's making last night's program so incredibly exciting, the intergenerational conversation. That was
No doubt. I mean, um, wow. I had a thought, but then it went out of my head, and that's what happens when you become what, an elder, otherwise known as
not
a senior
saying that,
citizen.
girl.
Okay.
uh,
Okay, age gifted.
I'm just trying to make sure, did I fall out again or am I still with you guys?
No, you were still here, sis. There was something when Karen, when you were talking about being non-judgmental.
Yes,
I mean, look, the bottom line is I'm not here to judge. That's not my job.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And you all know, and I'm sure all of you also, we're very fortunate that we have friends who hail from all over the world, different religious persuasions, um, and they too have added, I don't even know what word I want to use,
Color,
that too, color, um, different perspectives.
spice.
It's always nice, because you all know I love to travel, and you all love to travel too. But when I've traveled, I have been in some instances told that I must be wherever I've traveled to. Like I remember going to India and someone coming up and speaking Hindi to me. Yet my friend Shalini, who is Indian, was sitting right there, and I'm like, really, people? But it's kind of cool to be a chameleon, I guess, at some level where you can maneuver in and out of different cultures and people look at you, or there's something about you that's accepting, or they feel a connection to you such that they want to claim you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, I
I
think that
guess. What can
totally
I say?
suits who you've always been, intercultural studies, um, uh, vision and passion and appreciation. I am actually quite intrigued at that reality for you because truly the energy that you give off is one that's very embracive and inclusive. I think it's remarkable. So it speaks to your calling.
Well, and for those of you listening who may not know of my background, like Deb, both of our fathers were in the military. So when you are in the military, or your father, or whoever it is in your family, you really do get to explore and travel and experience things that most people don't. And I guess for me, the best skill that I learned is to be what flexible and adaptable, and just the realization that it really isn't that serious. You know what I mean? Home is wherever you happen to be with people who are caring, nurturing, and love you. So whether you get to your destination and your furniture doesn't get there, you still got your family, so y'all can figure it out. And as Black people, we have been figuring out stuff and adapting, et cetera, for what?
Hmm. Hmm.
Hundreds of years, okay? So that's a testimony to the resilience of people of color. And that's especially important in these times that we are currently living, because you know what? Woo, the whole world has been placed in a timeout.
Yes, seriously.
And for me, it really is an opportunity, okay? People have been confined to their homes. Maybe you're finding out that the people that you're confined with, maybe you don't really like them as much as you thought you liked them. But those are all things and issues that are going to work out. People are discovering that teachers really, really need to get more respect, earn more money, because now parents are having to step up and step into the shoes of teachers and try to teach their children. And they're understanding that Johnny may not necessarily be the angel they thought Johnny was, because now they got to
Hmm.
deal with Johnny the 8 hours that essentially teachers were dealing with them. And then parents would just come home and maybe have to help them with homework. But now the parents have to be responsible for the entire online process. And let's face it, technology is a challenge. It can be a challenge for some people. Not everybody is proficient when it comes to technology, but it's a
Yes.
learning
Yeah.
process. And the other point I wanted to make is things will never be the way
No.
they were, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. So hopefully in this time out, people have been taking the time to go inward and say, who do I want to be moving forward? How can I be perhaps a more empathetic, compassionate human being? How can I, help my fellow man or fellow woman or whatever the case might be? But I also am very clear and understand that some people who don't value themselves, therefore, they cannot value me or my life. So for some people, it's going to be business
Mhm.
as usual. But I really, really, really think that because so many people, I really believe, and I know I'm an optimist, I really believe that there are more loving people in this world than there are hateful people. And so, Deb, do you remember that you and we had a discussion about at some point whether we're going to do a separate podcast, and what were you going to talk about in that podcast, sis?
I think she'll tune back in a second.
Yes, I think she's showing us connected, but
There
she
we
may
are.
not be connected.
Am I connected again? Okay.
You are connected, sis.
I can
This is
I
so
can hear
crazy.
you guys wonderfully, but when it's time for me to talk, it's like, oh, where did I go? Okay, getting back.
It's
So
just the energy. It's just the energy. So I was just sharing
I
that
heard
you and
you. I heard everything you
okay.
said. The only problem is you couldn't hear me. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, one of the things that I wanted to share with this audience is that we have rules. I'm a Christian, love the Lord. He's always heard my cry. He's given me sister friends to rescue me in time of need, etc. So I feel very close to the Lord. And this crisis, this pandemic, is showing what I have read in the Bible, which is that we are to love our neighbor as
Mhm.
ourselves. And what I'm finding is that you're not loving your neighbor if you refuse to wear a mask in public. You're not loving your neighbor if you grab all the toilet paper and not leave any for the next person.
Yeah, what's that about?
I mean, really.
Really?
I'm saying that right now.
Now we have to hear what comes after right now because
Right, because she
God.
apparently did
so
she fade out?
Okay, I
Sis,
faded
okay,
out again.
she's back. She's
He's
back.
he's allowing us time to get it right, to change our evil ways. For example, he's giving us time to say, "Here, I, let me give you some of my paper. I got 5 rolls. Here, take one."
Mm-hmm.
Or let me always wear my mask in front of people when I'm out in public, or let me always social distance myself and be aware of that. Just simple rules. This is not something that's really that hard, but people are starting to protest, they're starting to have conflict, they're starting to kill each other. And again, to me, and this is just Deborah Hunter, um, the Lord is separating the wheat from the chaff, the goats from the lambs, and the
Preach,
dross
sis.
from the gold.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't follow the rules, there will be, you will have a consequence that must be
Absolutely.
Mhm.
paid.
I totally agree with you. And we see evidence on the daily that there is a large segment of the population that believes rules do not apply to them. Okay?
Mhm.
Exactly.
But democracy, which is what we are, but we're really more like a republic, but who, whatever, is based on a system of rules. And the bottom line is the winds of change are coming. There's a breakdown of authoritarian figures,
And the
you
rule of
know,
law itself.
the rule of law itself, that great divide between the haves, the have nots. I mean, this virus has shown the inequities of the health
Yes.
system,
Yes.
where people of color disproportionately are dying in relationship to the percentage of the population that they represent, because of, yes, underlying health conditions brought on by
Lack of
diseases,
access,
lack
lack
of
of money,
access.
lack of
Yes.
medical doctors in their neighborhoods, just all kinds of lacks,
And
inequity.
all of that lack, in my humble opinion, it
Mm-hmm.
all can be traced back to probably the biggest what do I want to say? Elephant in the room that we
Slavery.
as a country have not addressed is slavery and
Mm-hmm.
the aftermath of what that meant. Okay, yes, there have been, peaks and valleys, but the bottom line is, don't get it twisted. The United States of America was as great as it is because of the free, let me emphasize, free, meaning unpaid labor of your ancestors, my ancestors, Karen's
Mm-hmm.
ancestors, and all people of color. And it doesn't matter whether your people wound up in North America, whether they wound up in the Caribbean. I mean, there were slaves all over the world, but the United States particularly benefited. Okay.
Well, I think now the deal is that we have, I'm still falling out. We have people who just don't care. They don't care about um, a realistic history, an inclusive history. They only care about what they want it to be, or how they want it to be, or how they wanted it to seem. Um, it's like our country now has become one big reality television show. And each time we watch it, it just gets more outrageous to make us go, really? Did I see that? Or did I hear that? And it's just like, let me one up myself, the next time I tune in. But uh, it's depravity, and it's destruction. And I don't know how innocent black jogger can just get mowed down by a former police officer and
Mm-hmm.
his son. I mean, our world is shot. We have
Modern
to
day
reboot.
lynching. That was a
Yes, it
modern day
was.
lynching,
Yes,
Yes,
that's
because
yes,
exactly
there
what
are
that
some
was.
people who
That's
clearly
exactly what it was.
who
right.
clearly
They went hunting for him. They went
right,
hunting for
right.
a person, a black person, you know. And it's more of the same. It's the president of the United States. It's uh, our attorney general, William Barr, saying
Mm-hmm.
that if I am Michael Flynn and I sign the paper saying I am guilty of twice, and it's dated, and then they say, oh, there are no charges against you, you are free. That
Now you
that man create he did he that man was treasonous. And you know, so of course each great society had its zenith and its nadir. And
absolutely,
we are at the nadir, people.
we
Get
are.
ready. And my point is, will you survive, and how will you survive? If you don't know, in my opinion, because I am a Christian, the Lord. Now, I honor all I honor all religions, and I say if you don't know God, okay, the highest power, God, I don't know how you're going to make it, because this is this is going to be it.
Hmm. It is, Debbie. I have to say, I echo the same sentiment. We're certainly going to need an anchor stronger than anything we've ever had before. I do think when you reference the jogger, the the horror, the horror of it is that, prior
Right.
to the technology that we have, the everyone with a camera in their hand,
Yes.
truth has been subverted.
Yes.
Um, has this is simply capturing what has been going on in this country.
Right.
That hate, that seed of hatred that has become a tradition in terms of passing it on. I believe that's part of what happens, that this thing is passed on because the callousness of it and the frequency of it would have you to believe that this is not new. And it's deeply, deeply, deeply
Right.
troubling that that kind of callous,
Right.
thoughtless approach to a human life truly is a part so embedded in the psyche and the culture of this country. It's sad. Not just our country. I'm not going to
Right.
say
It is.
the US is unique
No,
in
it's
that
not.
way, but certainly it is a wake-up call for our communities of color to be very, very mindful about how we're training our children and be engaging the system, and also, Debbie, to be left out, because the energy to fight this kind of long distance, long distance process is that you have to have a faith base. You have to believe.
Yes, I agree.
I totally
And
agree with you,
let me
ladies.
just
And
say this, Pam, before you
mhm.
say something else. It's the first time that churches have closed. This is like monumental. Churches have shut their doors. Um, People are asked not to go to worship, but that never stops us from worshiping. The technology is there. We're on the phone, we're on a Zoom, we're doing all different kinds of innovative things to stay in touch with each other, um, to, to continue to love on our brothers and sisters. But um, again, many of our problems stem from slavery, as Pam alluded to earlier. And if you are considered a savage, as Native Americans and Africans were, and still are to this day, if you're considered three-fifths of a man, which Africans and Native Americans were, and in some people's minds still are, even to this day, um, you're going to continue to get this same thing until people are educated in love and not in hate and fear. This is going to be a cyclical event.
Yes, and that's why I'm hoping that, because the entire world, this is what is happening in the United States, is not um, confined to the United States. This is a worldwide problem, and issues related to hatred, bigotry are
Yes.
worldwide.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
problem number one. Number two, it's been my experience of being friends with people from all over the world, you know, going, I've been to mosques, I've been to synagogues, I've been to different
The
places of
temples,
worship,
sure,
temples.
certainly.
Yes. And my observation is that all religions teach love and compassion. So
I would hope
I'm
so.
trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out, because you know that certain groups of people, depending on who you are and what your religious beliefs and affiliations are, get portrayed as being whatever. Okay. But if you take the time, and we were all given minds to use, meaning, you don't have to accept what I say or what you say or what Karen says as being truth. You can do independent research. But let's face it, people are lazy.
Yeah, they don't want to do any research.
They
No
don't want to do
homework.
any research,
If it
So
doesn't come on, TV, if it's not shrunk into a 30 minute window, it's just
a
not going to
sound
work.
bite, a
That's
sound
it.
bite,
It's not going to
then you're
work.
taking it at face value. But we were given brains, and
Hmm.
our brains were honed at the institutions that we graduated from in prior in life's experiences.
At, at,
Okay.
at mama's table.
Mm.
Yes, at mama's table.
Right. And the school of common sense. Okay.
Hmm.
How about
Hmm.
that? The school of common sense and hard knocks, making a way out of no way.
Right.
So again, this goes back to our resilience as people of color, that
Right.
you and Karen and I are able to be in our respective places and know that our descendants were obviously survivors, okay, fittest of the fit, because they survived the Middle
The
Passage,
passage. That's it.
they survived slavery, they
Yep.
survived everything that was thrown at them for us to be able to be in the place and spaces we are, to have the life that we've had. And we've all had good lives. Of course, there have been ups and downs, but generally speaking, you know, we're not lacking. You know what
No.
I'm saying?
No.
And I think that we all try in our outward walk in life to be of service. And that's key for me,
Yes.
being of service, because I think if you are of service or in service and you're trying to help uplift people, then you reap the benefits and you reap the rewards. But there's so many people who are, without a doubt, hypocritical in the sense that they profess to believe what they believe, but their belief does not match their walk in life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Their actions speak louder than any words that could ever come from their lips.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I don't have all the answers. I don't even have probably any answers, but I know that for me, I try to come from a place of love and, like Karen said earlier, non judgmental. I'm not here to judge anybody, okay? And perhaps if people were less judgmental and more loving, maybe this would be a different world. But because of what's been going on, I do see a shift and a change. And I hope that people continue to shift and to change and just ask themselves the question: what kind of person do you want to be when we get through what we're going through? I mean, we won't always be limited in our movement. We won't always necessarily have to wear masks. We won't always not know what we don't know relative to the hows and the wheres. And every day it seems they're learning something new about how the virus can impact people of different age groups, where in the beginning, if you were an older person, if you had underlying health issues, et cetera, et cetera. But as we see,
It
uh,
mutates.
exactly. And
Mm.
and it don't care if you got underlying health issues. You can be healthy. They used to say no kids, but young kids have died. So I mean, there's so much we don't know. So therefore, once again, we are but mere specks in the greater scheme of things. And so, we have to be humble, and we have to be like, what, we have to give it up, as you said, to God, to
Hmm.
whatever your source of belief is. Try to live your life the way you think is appropriate, meaning that old do unto others as you would have them do unto you, trying to do the right thing, trying to be of service, trying to be helpful, try to be loving, trying to be generous, all those things that even now have so much importance. They
I
really do.
agree. I agree. I agree. So we start where we are.
So I don't know how this conversation morphed in the
Yes.
direction it did, but see, that's the beauty of doing a podcast. You never know where it was going to be or how or what direction, but this started out being a celebration of what? Women and sisterhood, which this conversation has been about that because as women, we're
Yeah.
obviously concerned about family. We're obviously concerned about economics. We're obviously concerned about health, all that good stuff. So I just wanted to just like kind of maybe tie up some loose ends and talk about how important it is to what, as I think Angela Davis said, engage in radical self care.
That sounds
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah. Because again, as Black women, holding it down, meaning you holding it down in your job, meaning you holding it down when you come home and you dealing, with significant others, husbands, children, when you holding it down with parents, you holding it down, holding it down, holding it down. You be holding it down so much that you forget who is looking out for numero uno, which is you. Okay.
Right.
So essentially, in most instances, ain't nobody looking out for you unless you look out for yourself.
Exactly. And again, women, Black women, we have tools that we have to allow ourselves to know that we are worthy of. Massage is one of them.
Yes.
Massage is a wonderful tool. It's a necessary tool. It helps you to gather yourself, to place yourself. Another would be your spiritual life. You have to be grounded in your spirituality. Um, this is a tool that keeps you where you need to be. The other would be um, your eating and
Mhm. Mhm.
exercise.
Diet and exercise. Yes.
We have to let go of some bad habits and replace them with some better habits. And
We may have lost her again. Mhm.
I think she faded out for a second.
I'm
You're a
back.
poetess
I
now.
have
You're
been.
a poetess.
This is so
So
funny. This is
this
so
is
funny.
crazy, but this is
It's
just
so
par for
funny.
the course. So when
Uh,
we are together, stuff happens. I mean, we have adventures. So look forward, people, to many other
uh,
episodes where maybe we will share some of
yes.
these adventures, our travel episodes.
Oh,
Okay. I
yes,
mean,
definitely.
like Deb went with me on my 60th birthday to Bali,
Our
and
60th.
Karen went with me and my nieces and
Yes.
nephews to
So much
Cuba.
fun. So much fun.
So more to follow along those lines. But when you were talking about healthy eating,
Yes.
exercise, I just wanted to interject that a lot of people, myself included, are what? Going back to the earth. I mean, come
Yes.
on.
Mhm. Mhm.
Planting you some herbs, some vegetables. I
Yes.
mean, with things that are happening with all of these meat packing plants, with people coming down with the virus, I'm like, look, I ain't trying to buy no meat to eat no time soon. Whatever meat I have in my deep freezer, I'm good with that. We don't need to consume a lot of eat. So you do have to be conscious of what you put in your body. Your body is
Mhm.
indeed a
A
temple.
temple.
And so, yes, we have to move the body. There's no question about that. And so, one of the things that Angela said, she said, if we want to create a new world, we have to be healthy enough To live
To
in it.
live in it. There you go.
That is a basic word. Yes.
And
So,
then also this whole sisterhood of girl trek. This is part of their philosophy as well.
yes, yes.
And so, they're all about getting it
Yes.
moving
Yes.
and keeping it
Right,
moving. So,
right. I would tell people to please go to their website, go to their Facebook page, join, like, tell your story of your hashtag daughter of, because you know what, we are works in progress. Okay, we really are.
absolutely.
And we have the ability, we the
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
each of us individually, we can do anything we put our minds to. Okay, for so long we have had to deal with men and the patriarchy, and I really think it's time for some feminine energy to
Mhm.
come up in here. You see what I'm saying?
It's happening.
It is happening, and we know with feminine energy, that's generally more nurturing, whereas men tend to not necessarily be nurturers. They're all about huffing and puffing and blowing the house down. I think women have soft skills like, let's
Let's talk about
negotiate,
it.
let's
Yeah. Let's
compromise.
talk about
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Why are
Yes.
you feeling
Absolutely.
like that? Let's talk.
Yes. Yes. And it's okay to show your feelings. If you're a man, I have no difficulty with you showing your feelings. To me, it's healthy to release your feelings and your emotions. You don't keep it inside of you, which then it turns
Mhm.
into disease and kills you.
Mm.
Exactly. So, anybody have any parting thoughts, words of wisdom they would like to share?
This was fun.
Even with all with you fading in and out, with it taking us an hour and 11 minutes to figure out how to connect my
It was
sister girl in
fun.
South Carolina to the sister girl in Florida to the sister girl in North Carolina, and we're missing our sister girl from Maryland, but
Yes.
we will try
Yes.
with her the next
Well, I
time.
found it
Okay.
rich. It
Absolutely.
was a great meal, so to speak, to close out the day. So thank you for the chance to do this. It was fun.
Yes.
Like I said, the whole premise behind me creating Ancestral Muses is one, to honor our ancestors. And I think I say, if you go and you check where I talk about what the
Too.
purpose is that we all have stories to tell. And that
Hmm.
hopefully, in sharing our stories, that people will be motivated, they'll be uplifted, and they
Absolutely.
will take something away that
Absolutely.
will be of benefit to them. And so I wanted to thank you, my sister girls. I love you, love you, love you, love
Yes.
you.
Love
To
you
the moon
too.
and back.
We have only just begun, and I appreciate that you guys hanging there with me while I'm usually the one that's trying to do the new technology and figuring it out, and then I don't
Yeah.
give up. So I am persistent, and that has
Absolutely.
stood me in good stead. So, to people listening, I would
Yes.
say,
That's right.
don't give up.
Right.
Don't give up. I mean, we all have stories of what we were told we could not
Mhm.
be.
Right.
Okay. You can't be a
Mhm.
doctor because you're this, that, and the other. You can't be an attorney because you're this, that, and the other. You can't be whatever you are because
Mhm.
you don't have A, B, C, and D. Well, guess what?
Amen.
We got God given talent,
Yes.
we got common sense,
Yep.
and we are
Yes.
descended from survivors. Okay, a resilient people who lived through, and because of them, we stand on their shoulders and we are prosperous. So it's up to us to
That's
reach back,
right.
teach one, Spread the knowledge, spread the wealth, whatever you want to call it.
Each
Not
one
rest
teach
on
one.
our laurels.
That's right.
But try,
Help somebody.
help somebody, and in
That's
helping
right.
somebody,
Right.
you help yourself.
That's right.
You help somebody.
That's right. And that's
Woo.
it. That's how we
Sister girls.
That's how
You
we
don't
get to the
know.
next level, ladies.
That's how we get to the next level. I love it.
Thank you so much. Right. I say, look, it's time to level up. That's my new phrase.
I love it.
Level up.
Level up. Okay.
Level up. Okay.
Level up. Love
Level up,
y'all.
people.
Love
Night.
you.
Good
Love you.
night, ladies.
Good
Love
night.
you.